Hello everyone, my name is Himanshu Sharma and in this video we will work on reflection API in Java. So I have a couple of code snippets and I will walk you through them. So let's get started. First of all, let me show you a simple class over here, a reflection demo. So in this I have an integer variable, a private constructor and a public method. So right now you get the idea that we will not be able to create the object of this class using normal operations. So if I try to create like reflection demo object equal to new reflection demo, it will not allow me to create because the only constructor available is the private one. But using reflection you can do that. And how? Let me show you. So first of all, a reflection demo class is a class and then we have a class.java in Java. So if I just navigate it over here, you can see you will get it in the lang package. So your Java class is represented by a class, right? So right now I can say reflection demo.class and I can assign it to a class reference variable, which is reflection demo class. And then we can use this class to get our methods for constructors and initialize the object accordingly. So let me uncomment this part till here and let's resolve this. So let me remove it and all right, unhandled exception, fine. What I will do is I will add it to the method signature. That's it. This one error it's giving me unhandled exception. Okay, we will do the same for the method signature. That's it. So here is our code. Let's format it. Okay. So what's happening over here is I use that reference variable reflection demo class, and then from this reference variable I can call the method get declared constructor, and then I am passing the integer dot class. And let me tell you why I'm doing this is I'm looking for a particular constructor and I'm instructing Java to give me a declared constructor who is accepting an integer parameter. So now if I go to reflection demo, here you can see that my private constructor is integer, so it will give me this constructor object. Okay, so I'm specifically targeting that particular constructor. Other option is you can call the class and instead of saying get declared constructor, you can say get declared constructors, and what it will do is it will give you list of all the constructors available for that class and then you can use them. How? I will show you. So here I got the constructor instance in my reflection demo constructor. So again, like we have class.java, we have constructor.java also. So if I navigate over here and let's see the package, you can see it's in the reflection package, reflect package. Okay, so now we are going to use this constructor to create our object. And how we are going to do that? First of all, we are marking this as set accessible true. And why we are doing it? Because our constructor is private, right? It's not accessible. So in order to make that accessible, we can use the set accessible method as true. And once we set the value as true, now I can use this constructor to create an instance. So when I call the new instance over here, I am passing that particular value, that is 10. So here what I am saying in this line, using this constructor, pass this integer value for this constructor because this was expecting an integer and create a object of reflection demo. And then we are calling that object, we are using that object and calling a public method. So let's run this application and see, and here it is. I'm getting the data, current data value as 10, which is as per my method. Okay, so now let's comment this out and see what will happen. Run it again. And there we go. We are getting an exception because cannot access a member of class with modifiers private. So basically your access modifiers comes into play, their scope, and due to which we are not able to create the object because they are not accessible. So this is a very handy feature, the set accessible true, and this is not only applicable for the object one, but it can be used on the methods. Okay, so now let's move on to the fields part. Okay, so similarly, like we have constructor, we also have field. So let me comment this part out now. Okay, and let's see, import class Java lang reflect. We need this one. Okay, and that's it. And then this is our normal arrays class. That's it. All right. So here you can see the field.java will come into picture when we are dealing with fields. So like we have constructor.java, similarly for fields we have field.java. This is also part of reflect package. And the way we get the constructor, saying get declared constructor, here we can use the get declared fields. So this is one way of using it, and since we are already storing this class over here, we can directly use that reference also, like this. Okay, so now what will happen is I will get the array of all the declared fields in that class. Okay, and then I am printing it over here, and from that array I am fetching a particular field. Let's say I'm fetching the first field, and this is our data field, the only private field we have, the only field we have in fact. And then again we are setting the accessible as true because our field is a private. And then we are printing out that value, and you can see over here what we are doing is we use the field variable temp and we are saying get demo. And what demo is the object we created above. So what we are saying is from the object demo extract the particular field. Okay, and then we can also use the set method to change that value as a different number for that particular field. You can see over here in these three lines, it's not only about field, we need to mention and we need to tell the Java that okay, we need to get a field from a particular object, and similarly we need to set the value of a field for a particular object. Okay, so now let's run this application one more time. And you can see over here I got the declared field. Okay, I got the value as 10 which was set earlier, and then the updated value. Okay, so field, constructor, they are part of reflect package. Now let's move on to the arrays. So let's navigate to the array reflection over here, and let's start with inspecting an array. So let's say I have this array an integer array. Okay, and inspect the first method, which is the inspect array, and here we have this array class. All right, so in the first method what we are doing is we are getting an array object, and then we are analyzing that object for certain properties. Like we put that in a class, we get the get class for that object in our class attribute, and then we are checking whether it's an array or not. So I'm sending an input array, so it should return true, and then of type we are getting the type of that array. Similarly, we can get the length of the input object, and since it's an array, we can use the array.getLength. So again, array, if I go here, this is also part of reflect package. So that thing you need to keep in mind, that this is the array of reflect package, not the arrays class. There is one more class we have, arrays, which is part of util package. So this one is for reflect, this one is of util package. Okay, so here when we are saying get length, we are using the reflection on the input object, and here array.get method, we are fetching that, okay, for that particular object return the value on a particular index. So let's run this application. And you can see over here what I'm getting is class is array true, and then of type, and we are getting the type as integer. Similarly, for length we get the value as 4, and for index value we get 30 at index 2. If you can scroll up, 0, 1, 2 and the 30 value. Now let's move on to updating an array, though we already covered it over here by using that set operation. I have also created a separate method for that, and let's update the value. Okay, and I have this utility method to print the array after update. So basically, first let's come over here. This print array method is nothing, I just passing a reference string to be printed, and then the object and the array length. And using the length, I'm just printing out the each and every value of the array present in that array object using reflection. Okay, now let's move on to the update array. Over here we just check whether the class is array as we did earlier, and then we use the set operation to set the value on a particular index. So you can see over here, initially the value is 10, 20, 30, 40. After the update, the updated array should be 100, 200, 300, 400. So let's run this application. You can see over here the updated array is this. Alright, so now let's uncomment this. What will happen if this is not even an array? So let's see if whether this function is even working correctly or not. So let's see if I send an value like not an array object, it should give me a false, right? See, input object is not an array. And the last one, if you want to create an array, that also we can do. So we will again use that same array class, and here, like in case of constructor we use the new instance, over here also you will get the new instance method. You will specify the type, since we are creating integer array, so we say int.class and then the length, and then we will say print array reflection created array. So let's run this one. And you can see over here the array is created, and since it's an integer array, so the default value of all the indexes are 0. So let me show you over here. So yeah, So this is all in the array part. You have array.java in the reflect package, and using that you can perform array operations on an input object. Okay, so let's move on to the methods reflection. So the way we did for constructor, the way we did for field, on the similar way we have method.java. Like we have field.java, we have constructor.java, now we have field method.java. So let's uncomment this class. Okay, so I have this class method demo, and this class contains like 1, 2, 3, 4 methods. Out of 4, 3 are default methods and one is a private one, and 2 of the methods are parameterized. Okay, so it's just a simple class having a couple of methods, that's it. Now what I'm going to do is I need to play around with those methods. I need to navigate those methods. I want to invoke those methods. So how that can be done? Through reflection. First of all, we will bring the declared methods. So again the same, get declared constructors, get declared fields, and here get declared methods, and it will give me a method array. So method java lang reflect. Okay, and now I'm going to iterate on these methods. All right, and like this. So what I'm doing over here is I'm iterating on the methods array. Okay, and for every method I'm getting the parameter count, and I'm just checking if the parameter count is 2. If yes, then I will invoke that method with 2 parameters. So basically in this code I am specifically targeting this method. Okay, so let's see what error we are getting. We are getting an exception, unhandled exception. So let's add it to the method signature. That's it. I think same goes for here. Yeah. So in this snippet, I'm iterating on all the methods, and then I'm specifically targeting this method by checking whether the method having the parameter count as 2, and if it is, then we will invoke that method. And here I just use a new method demo object. I did not use the reflect in this case, just for the object creation, but method invocation, this part is happening through reflection. So let's run this application. And here you can see where is it, right, see method name parameter count. So you can see that the method name is private method parameter count is 0. So private method is this one. Okay, I think I need to give a space over here, and let's make it like this. Now let's run it again. Yeah, so we have private method parameter count 0, one param method with have a parameter count 1, and a 2 param method with a parameter count as 2. Alright, and now since we were specifically targeting the 2 parameter method, it should get invoked, and what the 2 param method is doing is printing out the 2 parameters. So this is what we are getting over here, right? And the last part of this code snippet is invoking the private method. And now I think you have the idea about the set accessible part. So since it's a private method, to get that access, we will specify set accessible as true, and then we invoke that particular method on a new object. And since private method don't have any parameters, so we don't need to specify any parameter, just run it. That's it. So this is how it is invoked. All right. Now the last part of this video is the modifier reflection. So let's move on to that. So we have a class over here. Let me comment this one. Okay, so I have a simple class with two fields. One is private, another is with a default access, and two methods. One method I have marked synchronized private, and the another one I have specified public static. Okay, so I use different modifiers so that we can see how they are behaving over here. And now let's comment the main code and import the class. So again we have modify.java class, which is part of reflect package. Okay, and we are going to use this one. So field you are already aware of. Let's include them. Method is also went through, and here. So let me put it like this. Put it like this. Okay. So modifier. So basically we have this method as get modifiers. Okay. So for a class you will get a method as get modifiers. Okay, for a field you will get a method for get modifiers, and for a method you will have a method get modifiers. So let me show you. So if I go to class.java and I search for get modifiers, right? So I have this. Similarly for the field. So if I just quickly show you the field.java, and again get modifier, and I have this. Okay, and yeah, one more thing I would like to show you is this part. This method actually returns an integer. Okay, and that integer will decide that what all modifier information is applicable onto that particular method or a field. How that is done, that is at the bit level, that the binary codes of that integer is changed according to the modifier you have applied, but you don't need to get into that much detail if you want to use it, because Java provides us this modifier class, and here you have these friendly methods is private, is synchronized, and you can use those to decide whether that integer number is applicable for synchronization, for synchronized modifier, or a private modifier, or a static modifier. So let's start with the field one. So in the field you can see we have two fields and one of them is private. So when I'm iterating this one, what I'm saying is if the field is private, just specify its name. So that's the only thing we are doing over here. So let's comment this for loop and let's run it. All right, so first of all we got false because of the first one, that modifier is public. What we are checking is whether the class is public or not, and what I get to know is no, it's not public. Second, we check whether just print out the field which is private. So we are checking for every field whether the field modifier is this private, and what we are getting is that only field 1 is private. Okay, similarly we go for the method now. So in case of method, again same thing, we check whether that particular modifiers applied onto that method is synchronized applied, or is private applied, or is static applied, right? So let's run it. Okay, yeah, so this is the field 1, this is the method 1. So you can see method 2 is marked static and method 1 is marked synchronized. Also, method 1 is marked as private. So let's see if that is true. So method 2 static, yeah, that's true. And method 1 is synchronized, that's also true. And the method 1 is private, that is also true. So that's how you can use. It's not limited to these options. You have like modifier dot. If you just types is, you can get all the options available. You can check for public, for final, private, synchronized, static, native, protected, strict, everything. Okay, so yeah. All right. So yeah, that's all in this video. We covered the main. We covered the we covered the methods. We covered fields, array. So just as a final summary. So let's start with the constructor one. So this is for constructor where we created the object using the constructor.java. Okay, using reflection, and then we played around with field. And for this one, the reflection demo class looks like this. Okay, then we move on to the arrays reflection. In case of arrays, we did a couple of manipulation and analyzing of the object, whether the object is array or not, getting the length, play around with array.java, and that is all in this part. Then we move on to the method reflection. In method, we play around with method.java. So method, constructor, field, they all are like more or less same. They are all getting the similar methods for for your use, like get declared methods or get declared fields or get declared constructors. So they are on the same lines. And then this is the method demo class on which we play for the method, like different methods with parameters and a private method, and then just print them or invoke them. And the last one is the modifiers reflection, where we created a class specifying different modifiers on methods and fields, and then use the modifier .java class and its friendly methods like asynchronous, is private, is static, to get the idea like what all modifiers are applied on a particular method or field, and also in a class. Okay, so that's all in this video. Please let me know in case of any suggestions or feedback, and thank you everyone, thanks for watching.